So it is 6:32, so we're gonna call the meeting to order. First order of business is to, oh, thank you for that. First order of business is to review and make any changes to the agenda. Anybody have any additions or deletions?
Yeah, I want to talk about uniforms.
Yep. That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we'll add uniforms under roads and bridges, I assume.
Yeah.
Any other additions or deletions to the agenda? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from October 31st. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of October 31st as written?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Was I at that meeting?
You were not. Yeah, sorry. Any further discussion on the approval of the minutes? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye.
One abstention. Okay, you have approved the minutes. So we'll jump on to Public Works, Roads and Bridges. First item here is just a discussion point. So we did receive the stormwater mitigation grant that we applied for. This was for $179,000 to assist with additional funding for the Longley Bridge road stabilization project out there. So the next steps there are to get D&K or Dubois King to amend their agreement to get the contract amount right as it factors into the budget for supplemental grant services that we applied for. And also we'd amend the agreement with NRPC.
Charlie, have you started the meeting yet?
Yep.
Where the hell you been? Oops.
Yeah, we called the meeting to order at
If you
6:32.
started the meeting, you're on mute.
Can you hear us now?
Indeed, I can.
Okay.
You gotta reverb. Give me.
Are your speakers muted?
Oh, they're not muted. My speakers aren't muted, my mic is muted. Okay, great, sorry about that, Larry. Yes, the meeting was called to order and the minutes were approved as written with one abstention by Suzanne. Apologies for that. So now hopefully everybody can hear us okay. It looks like we lost Sue. Yeah, so anyway, and then we have to amend the agreement with NRPC for the municipal grant management services that Linda's been giving us. And so I've got a conversation, trying to line it up with her for tomorrow morning to just go back over that budget now that we have the grant in place, get it lined up and get everything going so we can move forward with that work.
So with that extra grant, does that mean it's going to be less of a town share?
It's gonna be less of a town share than it was looking like it was going to be, but it's still gonna be more than we budgeted for because this stormwater mitigation grant has match requirements as well. So it's more money, which is gonna help, but it's still gonna put us over budget for the whole project scope. So once I have a chance to catch up with Linda and look at, budget to budget numbers, I'll have a better idea of kind of where that puts us. So. Not as bad as it was, not as good as it could be. And at this point, we're probably not gonna move on with any work until next spring anyway, given where we are in the season, so.
Yeah, I think we could. 100,000 more.
Yeah, we'll keep on keeping on,
Did I say that?
yeah. So that's just the update there, so, good news that we got the grant, but we're still kind of moving forward with struggles. Next up is just grader repairs. Mark, do you wanna give a?
So the turbo is gone in the grader, our grader. So Cat came out to look at it and they can't even get one till mid-December. And it's gonna be between $2,000 and $3,000. So St. August, the mechanic, looked into getting one for us. I mean, it's a Caterpillar engine, like in a truck. And he found one for $11.50 and $50 shipping. We could have it in like a week, and then he could put it in for us.
Nice.
So I think we're gonna go that route.
Okay,
Then we can get our grader going again.
okay, great.
Yeah.
Not having a copy of the purchasing policy in front of me. It's $1,000. So just for
There'll be
the,
some labor on it too.
yeah,
So, I mean, probably, 1,500.
yeah, well, for the purchase of the.
Purchase of the-
equipment, yeah.
Yeah.
So then, I mean,
Yeah.
I would move to authorize, an expenditure of, $1,200, for the new turbo for the grader.
Second that motion.
Seconded by Emily. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, so yeah, go ahead and
Okay.
get the ball rolling there. Great. Next one is the part-time hire update. We're getting towards plow season, so just wanted to chat about, do we have
No,
any
is
applicants?
anybody else?
There's nothing in the folder for,
Okay. I got a few people that gotta talk to them.
okay,
Or else I'll have to get in and do it before I do the bus route.
just put the plow on the bus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
I'd love to do it.
all right. So that's the news there, that's the news, and we'll try to get that
Yeah.
handled as quickly as possible. So that brings us to item 4, under Public Works, which is Ethan's Class 4 discontinuance request. So as a recap, the site visit and public hearing was held on Saturday, October 22nd. We didn't have the full board in attendance, so after the tour and just discussion and hearing from the public, we suspended the hearing to then reinitiate it at the next regular board meeting, which is tonight, for board discussion and a vote on how to respond to it. So I will open that up for board discussion on what folks are feeling. Don't want to speak at once.
I would just as soon not throw up the road and keep it as is. Or maybe reclassify it as a trail. I know we spoke about that a couple of times too. But I just don't feel good about giving up town property.
Okay. Yeah, the reclassification to a trail would allow the road to be gated. Although Ethan did say that he's not really, doesn't really want to gate it. He didn't get into why, but just pertinent to that. Other thoughts?
I mean, I was kind of on the leaning towards the trail classification idea as well. Felt like it kind of like, we wouldn't lose the interest of having that land and like road access as far as it being town owned, but it would perhaps mitigate some of the problems that are happening up there with vehicle traffic. So, I don't know, that's kind of where I was leaning towards after that discussion up in the woods.
Right. Any other?
Yeah, I just feel like we should just deny the request and just keep it the same, the way it is. I don't see any benefit either way. I mean, for him, he still can, if he wants to repair the bridge or do whatever, he just comes and gets a permit from us and he can fix the bridge. I don't think the town even originally put the bridge in anyways, I think.
No, the Atlas
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, it was
You're
private
right.
company put it in, so.
Yeah.
It's really not a benefit to the town, the bridge, because there's nothing on the other side.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like we should just deny the request. We've denied it before.
Yeah, correct.
And
All right.
What's the liability of the bridge to the town?
Yeah, that's outside of the request, my big takeaway from that was that the bridge is essentially a hazard. As it is right now, that decking is not safe. Half of it's not even secure. It's
Right.
just wood laid on top of something.
Yeah.
And while we don't have any obligation to repair structures on Class 4 roads, I do think we have an obligation to deal with what we know to be existing hazards to public safety. And from my perspective, I see the current condition of that bridge as a hazard to public safety. I mean, anybody who drives down there in a vehicle of such, not understanding what they're doing, I don't know, I see that as a liability. And that's exclusive of any right-of-way conversation.
I would like to find out, like, legally what the town's responsibility is in that case, because I do think that a lot of attention has been drawn now to that spot, and if that brings people there and we are in fact responsible for safety with regard to that bridge, I think we're opening ourselves up to a whole heap of liability if we leave it the way that it is and we don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So that would be my, I don't wanna own that liability as a town, because that'd be huge.
Yeah. And
So
so
that's where I'm at with it.
yeah, and one mechanism here, we do have the class 4 road policy, which does allow the town to essentially give responsibility for maintenance to an individual who applies through that process to say, okay, individual, you have the town's blessing to maintain X part of road, X structures. So one option here could be that we basically grant Ethan permission to maintain said road and structures from his property boundary to the end of the right-of-way, and essentially put the ball in his court. That would allow him to maintain the road, which was one of his principal things that he was looking at with the request. Yeah, and it would basically put the maintenance of the bridge in his court.
Could he remove the bridge altogether if that's what he wanted to do?
If we gave him the essentially management capacity for maintaining that road and the structures on it, then we would be abdicating essentially that.
Yeah.
So,
That wasn't my reading of the class 4 policy.
sorry, what?
That wasn't my reading of the class 4 road policy.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if it's on my favorite chalk or not, but as soon as someone said, someone go down a rabbit hole the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, I can bring the class 4 road policy up.
I mean, I think it's pretty simple. We could just pull the boards off it. Then if he wants to build back, he can build it back.
Okay, no, we're not gonna do this. We're not doing this. We're not having crosstalk in the room and everything. A point was raised about the class 4 road policy. We'll
Yeah.
look at it. Jimbo, to your point, was there something,
You just read it?
I mean,
I'm sorry, it's
it's kind of long. Applicant wishing to perform arrange performance and maintenance work on the road or trail, written request prior to commencing any work. The road commissioner schedules discussion, no work without the policy, applicant bears all costs associated with the work. The road commissioner can deny it and they can appeal it. Applicant ensures that all the requirements for signs, work, safety, and public safety required by law or reasonable prudence will be adhered to, and the road work will be done in accordance with specifications established by the road commissioner. All work in the right-of-way is in conformance with the specifications articulated in the approved permit application. Yeah. Applicant agrees. The applicant and applicant's agents shall not hold the town responsible for any claims of injuries that should arise out of the work, and agrees to indemnify and hold the town harmless against legal liability for any and all damage, loss, or claim associated with the work. So I think that gets to the question about liability and everything else, if we give him the management capacity as articulated in the policy.
And he also said that he does have plans to fix that bridge. And he didn't want to write in every single time to ask for permission from the town, and that's why if we gave up the road, he would be able to just continually work on it without going to the town for permission. But I think his plan was I don't think he was gonna leave it in the condition it is now. I think he was gonna follow through to fix that bridge,
So,
Well,
because he
can-
wants to be able to get in and out too.
yeah,
I mean, he still can do that if we
Right.
request.
He can ask a request,
Yep.
right, you can do it online.
Yeah.
It's pretty
yeah,
easy.
so again, an option here would be to, utilize the class 4 road and trail policy to essentially, maintain the legal right of way. However, through this process, we would basically give him the right and responsibility for maintenance of the road and structures as articulated here. If at any point in the future, the board wanted to rescind that, it can be done through this. So, to the question of, future ownership of said right of way, that would be a mechanism to maintain it.
Like if you wanted to build it up to the point where he could get sap trucks in and out of there and ride on the rest of the Giville, our town could be like, I'm sorry, we're not gonna permit you to make this class 4 a highway for sap trucks.
We can't stop somebody from running a sap truck on a class 4 road.
But if we didn't allow him to
We have
do the
to
bridge, we
approve.
could.
Right, we have to approve right now.
No, we
If
don't.
give it,
No, not for
No, we
sap
don't.
trucks.
It's agriculture.
It's agriculture.
But so say for example, if we need, the
bridge
sap
has
truck
to-
couldn't go on the bridge in its current shape, but to improve the bridge, he would need to get Mark's permission. So if Mark can grant the permission, the sap truck couldn't go on the bridge. Because it's not in its current condition, he couldn't hold a sap truck.
and that's just like, down
Yeah.
the road, we don't even know what he might ask for, but just the fact that the town has that process from day one, where they have to ask the town if it's okay and the town can grant it, you guys can constantly be like, yes, 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 but down the road, if something becomes of that land, and it doesn't even have to be Ethan, he could sell it to someone else, if we give up that road,
Yeah.
we're giving it up to the next owner too.
Yeah.
And it's important that they come to us.
Which is
and-
exactly the
and
process
ask
that
us.
we're outlining
Yeah.
here. So,
It's a good process we have.
yeah. So the board could act in that capacity and maintain the legal right of way, but essentially, as we already said, don't need to repeat it again. Yeah, I mean, that seems to be where the consensus is lining up, unless I'm misreading the room. I mean, I could be happy with that. I mean, personally, I think, I personally, I think that maintaining the town's right of way down to Brook, is definitely worth it. I do question what the benefit is to have an extra 200 feet of road that goes to nowhere. So, that's my perspective on this, but, this, using the class 4 road policy, I think would address the concerns that people have, and,
So is the only distinction, if it was to say we went in the direction of classifying it as a trail, the only distinction there is that you could put a gate out?
yeah, that's my understanding, is that you can't gate a town highway, but you can gate a trail.
Okay.
That differentiation would change it. So if we were to downgrade it to a trail, he could, we could gate the road. But again, when I brought that up out there, I mentioned it, Ethan insinuated that he didn't really have any interest in putting a gate up for certain reasons.
Yeah.
That was my articulation. So I just want to, the point of tonight is to have a board discussion and a vote. We had a public hearing, we've taken comment, and I don't want to curtail that, but if the board is coming to a conclusion right now, I just want to have the conclusion and move on with it. If there's points of order around process or questions like Jimbo's, that's fine, but
I feel like there was misinformation there. That the road is only 200 feet and ends in nowhere. Because what I found on the maps, it goes to the waterfall, and that's where my family goes. And then when we look further into it, when we were at the meeting Saturday, no one knew exactly where it ended. We kind of walked to a spot we thought it ended.
so the town highway maps are the maps that we go by legally, and those, well, you're correct, there's some ambiguity of where it ends. It does not go all the way to the waterfall.
that's-
No, I believe it goes to where that truck is, there's an old truck parked
Yeah.
there, and
Yeah.
it's about 200
I mean, if you
feet.
look at some of the maps, like that one,
Yeah,
it
there's
shows
like
it
a turnaround.
differently, but the town highway map is the legal map that we have to go by.
That's about as far as it goes.
Yeah. So again, it sounds like there's a consensus developing that we use the class 4 road policy to address this with them.
So we deny the request, or,
Yeah, the process would be to deny the request and then direct him to apply using the class 4 road policy.
so I'll make a motion to deny the request to discontinue the class 4 road, and that he just goes by our class 4 road policy and requests repairs.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Great. Is there any further discussion?
I guess I'm still a bit unclear about the distinction that we're making between the class 4 road policy and redesignating it as a trail, and sort of what those differences are as far as, like if there's any differences as far as public access or what that entitles him to do versus what authority it gives the town.
I
Sorry.
think if it makes, if you
That
make
was
it-
like 4 questions
I
in
think
one,
if-
so. Yeah,
Let's tease that apart.
I saw that you were being a little bit.
I think if you make it into a trail, then our class 4 road policy is not existent, and then they can do whatever, the landowner can do whatever they want to that section.
The town still owns the property?
It's still a town-owned right-of-way.
But it kinda gives us, we can't really, it throws our hands up to it, I think,
We think.
and, yeah.
Well, I mean, the
I
class
believe-
4 road policy wouldn't apply because the class
No.
4 road policy is subject to class 4 roads.
Do we
So
have
we'd
a trail policy?
We don't,
Wait,
we'd have to come up with.
So like, I guess before I feel comfortable voting on this and making this distinction, like I would wanna know what the trail policy is versus our class 4 road policy, so that we have all of the information at hand before we're making a designation,
Yeah, so we don't have.
personally.
I
So,
mean,
like, at this point, I would abstain from this vote because I don't think that we have enough information. Like, I personally don't have enough information to move forward in an informed way.
Okay. To the question of the, I think we would have to develop, actually, no, we're totally wrong. It is a class 4 town road and trail policy. So,
And trail policy.
Yeah, so the subject policy would actually be in effect. The difference would be the ability to gate the road. Yeah, I apologize. It's articulated as class 4 road trail or unclassified trail.
I mean, my impression from him was that
He didn't want
he did I misunderstand? I thought he did want to block it right before the bridge. Like put a gate up of some sort and put boulders up to prevent the ATV traffic from going through,
Instead of going up right now.
Yeah,
right?
I-
Like that's what
He
I
wants
heard.
the bridge
Maybe I
big enough
misunderstood.
for his
Um,
equipment, but then temporary, you can remove that and keep it foot trail. He doesn't want gates, he doesn't want boulders, he wants that bridge to be for traffic only. But with the ability to be able to temporarily make it a full bridge for required equipment to get across from there.
Yeah.
Which I believe he could still probably do under the classification that it is now. And he agreed to that. When I talked to him, that when we were up there, he agreed on everything that we had been saying here at the meeting. He agreed, he said he just thought it would be easier for everyone on all sides, that it wouldn't be a big deal and it wouldn't be an issue and it would just make things easier on him. But he agreed with everything that I think we came up with.
Right.
On the land, he said, no, you're.
So I wanna circle back.
Except for giving up the
right away.
I want to circle back to your original question. Does that answer your question?
No.
So if it was a trail, we could still use the policy to govern maintenance of the trail, and that responsibility going to the landowner. The difference would be the ability to gate the road.
that's the,
As to my understanding of the differentiation between a trail or a town highway.
That's the only difference.
Well, I don't know if it's the only difference. I mean, I don't, when I looked at statute and talked to our attorney, the question I asked was around gating roads. And his response was, if it's a public highway,
Can't be.
you can't gate it. If it's a trail, you can't gate it. But I didn't get into a laundry list of differentiations between that. So to that end, do you still have questions that you want addressed before you're comfortable voting on it?
I would like to look at that policy more closely to see what the difference is between our class 4 policy and if we redesignate it as a trail, personally.
You mean
But,
the town's policy?
yes,
But there,
like,
the policy is blanket for
Well-
both, so.
Yeah, the policy, is for class roads and trails, and there's no differentiation in the policy between the two.
okay,
Yeah. Where it's used, it's class 4 roads, trails, or unclassified trails. There's no differentiation on, you know. Can or can't.
In looking at this, there's like
Jimbo.
so many things put, I'm sorry, no, that's fine.
I'd love to just like do this and move on, and I'm not trying to be mean, but like we've
Information
taken.
meeting was last time.
We've
So
taken
then
public
I guess
comment, we've had the hearing, I wanna get this wrapped up with the board.
and sorry, I'm not trying to belabor the point, I just wanna make sure that I'm clear on what I'm voting on. So, tell me what the motion on the table is. Is it to
Yep.
deny it, or is it to reclassify it as a
So-
trail?
The motion on the
What do we wanna
table
do?
is to deny the request and direct the landowner to submit a class 4, road policy request, subject to the policy.
Can we amend that to be a class 4 or trail request? Does
Yeah,
it
we can- I
matter?
mean,
Like,
Class 4 road and trail policy.
Yes.
I mean, the intent is
Yeah.
basically
Is the
subject to the
policy.
town's policy.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that was the motion, to deny the request and direct the landowner to submit a, application for maintenance of road and structure via the class 4 road and trail policy.
So essentially, if we wanted to consider making this a trail, it would be a whole nother discussion and vote.
Well,
Thanks, I guess that's part.
I mean,
like what
if
my
we wanted to make it a
question is.
trail, we could do that unilaterally. We could go back to the landowner and say, we've denied your request to throw the road up, but you can submit a new one to have it become a trail. I mean, there's different ways that could go about.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the main decision point here is we have the request in front of us. We can either deny it or we can approve it. And if we deny it, we can go back with a suggestion in addition to the denial.
Yeah.
We don't have to, we could just say no.
Okay.
So we have a motion made and seconded. We are in discussion, having discussion. Is there any further discussion? If not, we will call the question. All those in favor of denying the request and directing the landowner to submit via the class 4 road and trail policy, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Me.
Yeah. So 3-0-2, 2 abstentions, the motion carries, and I will direct Ethan to do that. Great.
Why do you abstain?
Just 'cause-
Can I ask that? I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly, this whole thing has just gotten more than, yeah, I'm ready to move on from it, to be honest. I think that's a fine solution, and we've got the vote, we have a direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
That answers my question.
All right, so we have a direction, I'll reach back out to Ethan and let him know, and next up is uniforms. Mark.
I want a uniform.
Well, we've been using Unifirst, and
Yeah.
I guess the
Hat
guys really
right in the
aren't
corner.
interested in getting a Unifirst uniform.
Thank you, see.
We're,
Yeah.
we were thinking of just like getting some sweatshirts made,
Oh,
and,
good for you,
you know,
thank you.
some shirts and
Thank you
stuff.
for the info.
Maybe just giving them like
Hi,
a
Tiffany,
stipend towards, towards clothes or something. I think it'll be a lot cheaper than Unifirst. And then the rugs, we can just do like we did here, buy our own rugs, and then just get rid of Unifirst. Because it's quite a bit of money, and they just weren't very reliable either.
Oh, such a
You know,
ripoff.
I mean, yeah. So either, I guess we can bring it up at the next meeting. We can. I think Erin was looking into like some sweatshirts and stuff and getting some stuff made. So we can maybe get some numbers from her for the next meeting, and then
Okay.
maybe look at a stipend or something too, towards clothes.
Okay, can you follow up with Aaron around budget request and bring it back?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. We'll look at.
great.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's it under roads and bridges. Buildings and grounds, only thing here is 98 Main Street, USPS operations. I don't really know what the hell is happening. I thought we had somebody in North Carolina who was willing to work with us, and I've called him repeatedly, emailed him repeatedly, and I have gotten radio silence. So I don't know if we had another dead end with them or what, but they did say that they had every intent of moving back here, and now they're ghosting us, which is pretty much par for the course for the United States Post Office.
So we wanna just heat that building for the winter,
Yeah, heat it with
Just
some
a-
gasoline and a match.
Doug is in the back of the
Oh,
room.
sorry, I didn't mean that, Doug. Yeah, I mean,
when that happens.
yeah, I mean, we'll have to heat it to some degree to keep,
Okay.
I mean, we can drain the pipes and everything to the greatest extent possible, but we'll have to keep the basement heated
Yeah.
to maintain the stuff that's down there.
Yeah, okay,
Nice.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Did they renew it? Are they still paying?
No, they did not renew the lease, because I asked them what it was exactly they wanted to renew.
Because wasn't it due the first of November? Or?
Yeah,
November, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Did we reinitiate movement on getting the property appraised?
Oh, yeah, that's still pending. I'm just waiting for her to get back to us with timing and, but yeah, because that would be the required step if they renew the lease to then go back to the US Postal Trust folks
Yeah.
about the purchase.
Love you.
So, yeah. Bye, Brent. Bye,
Yeah,
Jen.
right.
Water Commission update.
We're gonna fix that curb stop.
I saw, thank you so much.
Well, usually it's just the rod breaks off, you can turn the valve, we couldn't even turn the valve for that.
Yeah, and I heard there was all the wires underground there.
Well, there was an abandoned wire,
Yeah, okay.
that we hit, and it was abandoned. We had dig safe in there, and then I had the phone company go down. Yeah, that was a little scary moment, but it's like, well, everything was cleared. So tomorrow we're gonna repair that, we're just gonna shut down that little corner. I don't think it's gonna affect too many people for water. It won't take us long, we'll put a new curb stop in
Okay.
Yeah,
and get it repaired.
okay. Do we have some hydrants that need fixing too?
Well, we should put that on the agenda about just replacing them.
Okay.
I think we replaced one last year, we didn't get one done this year, so I think they're to the point where it's gonna be just as well to just replace them.
Right,
Yeah.
we talked about
I
doing
mean,
like one or
doing
two
like one a
every
year,
year,
and
right?
we didn't get one done
Yeah.
this year. And just those type of hydrants are pretty much obsolete, and it's hard to even find parts for them. And they get to a certain point where you can't even turn them. And I just don't see any sense in keep spending money, to keep repairing them. I'll get some prices together and get it replaced, but it probably won't be till spring. But I mean, on Main Street, we've got hydrants close enough that we should be all right.
Yep.
But yeah, we couldn't, then one of them, going up 242, we couldn't even shut it off. Lucky we had to shut it off in the ground, on the valve, but
Okay.
that one just, we didn't even shut it off, so.
All right, well, yeah, so I guess if you want to
So-
come up with a budget request.
Yeah,
But
for
we
budget
can
time,
make
we'll
sure we
come
can
up.
plug that in.
Yeah, we'll come up with some, because I mean, we keep just spending money on these hydrants.
Yep.
And I think the best thing is just to replace them. I mean, a lot of them was put in early '70s, mid-'70s, so.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what my recommendation was to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, so that brings us through Public Works, so we'll go to visitors. We'll do, who's still on there? We'll do it in the room first, so Jimbo, you got something for visitors?
Just in researching, it's like I appreciate everyone's thoughts and like this issue. There's so many complexities of that all come together with like class 4 and what it would allow and like not allow, and it's a very precarious, delicate balance that I think that there's like I counted 18 things that trickle in, and I know that it currently works, and I just like to admire the previous road commissioners and all the thought put into it. And if we change it, it might not work. So yeah, I was pleased to hear that thought process.
Okay. Batter up, got anything? No,
I
okay.
said my part, yeah, no, I'm happy with the decision.
We're gonna go to folks on the call, we'll go in the order you're on my screen, so Larry or Anita, if she's in the room and wants to chime in.
Mute.
You there, Larry?
Larry, you're muted.
You listening?
We're good.
You're good?
We're good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Sue,
Nope, nothing.
nothing? Gabby?
Just listening.
Okay. Thank you. We're gonna go to old business. Municipal website overhaul, just a status update. Do you know where things are at with that, or the next steps
Yeah,
around it, or?
The status update on the website is I have a huge laundry list of things that have changed since we originally filtered all of the information that we needed to get to Zach, and so I am working on compiling that in the most like organized format that I can and getting that to him to make those changes. It's definitely gonna require that he and I have a meeting in order to do that. I've got feedback from a lot of different angles, and so that's really good because it's different perspectives for me to
Okay.
look at and how things are working. And so I am setting up a meeting with him probably for next week. The last week and this week are just like off the books for
Yep.
anything additional for me. So it'll probably be next week, and then giving him some time to work on those things. And then I really was shooting for like a September 1st sort of get it going, and obviously we're well past that, so you know I've like amended my goals and I'm really shooting for first of the year to get that launched, and knowing that there's going to be things that are wrong and need to be changed, but it will be much more navigable than what we've got now. So
Okay.
just a little more patience, sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's like the never ending project.
And since we're on the website,
Yeah.
did you have a question?
I couldn't get on to look at it.
So it's only, he opens it for certain periods of time because it's running on his server.
Oh, okay. Well,
And
that link you
so-
sent us, I think.
Right, so it expired after
Oh.
a certain period of time that he set. He can,
Okay, maybe I.
yeah.
You know what I did, Mark, was I just emailed him one morning when I was available, and I was like, hey, Zach, can you open it up
He-
for the day
yeah.
for me? And then he did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you want to take a look at it, he can definitely do that. I just don't want to keep asking him to open it and then close it, and you know
Oh, yeah.
nobody's like looking at it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't know how much of an effort it is for him
Well,
to
it
do
sounds
that.
like-
Probably it's just a pushing a button.
Sounds like you got a bunch more stuff
But
to do to it anyway.
we have more stuff, and then
Closer
obviously, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll give you a final tour before
Okay.
we go live.
Yeah,
Awesome,
okay, yeah, that sounds like right. Sounds like you got some more tweaking and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what,
much more.
I
yeah.
didn't like
Yeah.
overload you.
No, you didn't. It's good.
Emily, do you want to pivot just to the website policy?
Yeah, I sent you the policy the way that we amended. I just emailed it to you because I realized that I failed to print
Oh.
it out, and so can you just pop that up? And I just want to show that. So there is a website policy
Huh.
in our town documents, and in redoing this website, there were a few things that came up about like who was going to have access to it, and there were certain
Oh, yeah.
committees that
Yeah.
wanted to have the opportunity to get in there and do their own
Yeah.
websiting, which
Yeah, I do remember doing it.
maybe would not be the best.
Okay.
Probably my name- probably my name's on it somewhere.
So there are things that Liz and I went through and struck through because they're either just like not relevant, or there are things that we really felt needed to be changed. Does not change the overall like
Oh,
content of what our policy is.
So it's only 2 pages. Do you want to just walk through the changes that you're
Yes, I can.
outlining now, and then we
I
can
can,
just
I just can't look at it up
vote
there.
to
So
approve the changes?
if people are good to do that,
Are folks cool with that? We can, the other alternative is to email it out. Folks can look at it, and then we can do this next time. Or if it's only 2 pages and there's not a lot of changes,
it'll
can just
probably take about 5 minutes.
review it and then vote to approve it now.
yeah.
5.
Okay.
Okay. So if we look at section 1, what we would like to get rid of. It says no home or personal numbers will be listed on the site except for the select board.
Wait, that's section.
Wait, sorry.
You're
I
on
think
Section
that's
one is
down on
already-
You're on
section
section 3.
Oh wait, sorry, I'm in section 4.
Okay, were there changes to section 3, it looks like?
Yeah.
We're gonna delete like,
Oh yeah, like. We're getting rid of the word like.
and the highlighted parts are,
What you've
I
added.
don't know why they're highlighted on yours and not highlighted on mine.
okay,
So it's just the
well,
crossed
let
out
me do
part.
this.
Yeah.
It could be that I'm looking at it in that viewer, and so,
Yes, so in that third section.
oh, that's highlighted too.
Okay.
Oops, sorry, let me, I opened up a different, I opened up Word, which is why it's not showing, so. Okay, so section 3, we're gonna strike the word like.
Yep, and that would be the only change there.
All right, section 4,
Section 4, phone numbers and privacy. It says that the select board phone numbers are gonna be listed on the website, and we all had had a discussion that that was like not gonna be the case, so we got rid of, except for select board. That'll come out of there.
But there'll be a place on the site that they could email or
Yes,
yeah, you
message
can always
each
email
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
yep.
Okay.
And there are quick buttons that they'll be able to push to shoot an email where they want it to go.
Okay,
But this is just saying like your home phone number is not
Yeah,
gonna be listed there.
Yeah, yeah.
Other sites linking to the town would be gone from here, and it would just say links an event to the town site.
okay,
And get rid of all of section 4.
and what's the thinking behind eliminating section 4?
The thinking behind it is if people request some things are up there and other people don't, like, is it our responsibility? Like, whose responsibility would it be to put things up there? Who's going to, like, is it gonna be on Liz to say, like, yes, this can go up and no, this can't, you know what I mean? So, and in an effort not to sort of show, like, favoritism in any way, shape, or form, like, just getting rid of putting other people's stuff on our website. Like,
So
our
it'd be-
website is gonna be busy enough, we don't need,
It'd just be the town.
it would just be the town stuff, it's not gonna be anybody
Oh, I got you.
else's
So
stuff.
essentially what we're doing is we're eliminating a community events page. It's gonna be a municipal website.
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha. And that looks like the only
That's it.
edits. Okay, any conversation about the edits? Seem pretty straightforward. I mean, the biggest change would be just that we are not gonna have a community events page, which is kind of how we're managing it now.
Yeah.
No, there's a newsletter for that.
And there was a new
Right.
for that. Yeah.
right,
The only thing that, and I emailed Emily about this, I don't know how the rest of the board feels about it, but one thing that's nice it is on the current page, although it's limited, but just to have a visitors, like, these are things to do in Montgomery, places to stay, and not like, constantly being updated or anything, but just like, these are the restaurants you can go to, these are the inns you can stay at, like, these are the local attractions. Just to have like one page for people interested in. I kind of liked that. I don't know how everybody else
So
feels
could
about
there
it.
be, I mean, we don't have a chamber of commerce, but like part of me would think that if we linked to another, my only problem with that is like who picks who's on there.
well, exactly, and that's what we had talked about, sort of with regard to, like, this piece, like, I don't wanna be responsible for going through town and like listing out every single business and their website in order to make sure that we have a complete list. That if there was another page to link to, like a Chamber of Commerce or something, then yes, but I mean, I hear what you're saying, like maybe I don't know where that fits because I feel like this is the town website. Happy to put, here are covered bridges, like, here's where they're
Yeah.
located, those are like
Yeah.
town things. Here's like You know,
Yeah, I mean, the big thing that just because it's a hot item in town right now, would be like if we do put up there, here are places to stay in town.
are we gonna list all of the Airbnbs? Are we
Exactly.
gonna
Well, I
list
wouldn't-
all of the
no, no, no,
VRBOs?
no, no, no.
Like,
And then
right?
how do we,
And
you
so
know-
I don't know how to justify
Yeah, like.
that, you know, like this is a business, this is a Airbnb, but I mean that is
Yeah,
some
might
people's
open up
business, and so it felt really sticky to get into that.
Yeah.
So we had talked about a page with like photos and more like town attractions, like the covered bridges, something like that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily businesses because we didn't want to be preferential.
Okay.
Excuse me,
Yeah,
Yes,
Larry, go
Larry.
ahead.
isn't there a thing called, a Montgomery business community that should be able to do that and not put it as a task on this?
Yeah, I think the question,
Yes.
though we'd have to figure out is do we link the town website to that?
Is there a Mocha?
And if we do, who's administering it? And so,
Wasn't
but yeah,
that
I do believe that
some
there are
used
a
to
couple different things out there like that. I think what we'd have to do is figure out what is out there, who's managing it, and do we link to it or not?
Is it reputable? Like, is
Yeah.
it maintained?
Sarita, I think,
But
was in charge of that, yeah.
we can look. We can definitely look into that, but at this point, just put it like not necessarily
Yeah.
putting people's businesses.
Commercial enterprises.
Exactly.
I would say.
Exactly. Leaving it
Yeah. Okay.
for the municipality.
Sue, did you have a question or a comment or something related to this?
Yeah, there is, right now, there is no town or no business association
Right.
or anything like that. There's nothing right now.
Okay.
If there is in the future, I mean, maybe we can look at that and choose to link to it or not.
I think it just should be town information, period.
All right. Thanks, Sue.
Yeah, you know.
All right. So any other discussion on this? We can vote to adopt as amended and presented.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adopt as amended.
Yeah, just be clear.
Motion to adopt as amended. Is there a second?
One second.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, so we'll attach that to the minutes as exhibit. Moving back up to old
And
business.
then we can maybe print it and sign it for
Yeah.
next.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
we'll print the clean copy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Menage property under old business, so just following up with the conversation, so I have talked with the zoning administrator again about this, and the recommendation she had was that rather than go through our attorney at this point, she can create a zoning violation for the Vermont Judicial Bureau to adjudicate. So she's gonna put one together based on the zoning violations that are happening. That can go to the Judicial Bureau, and then that process can move forward. Whether or not that yields any action on the part of the landowner, I don't know. At some point, do need to talk to our attorney about at what point can the town ask to have essentially the property,
Condemned.
condemned's not the right word, it's basically like declared as abandoned,
Declare it abandoned.
yeah.
There was a gentleman I ran into at the library who expressed an interest in buying that property. Did he reach out to you?
Yeah, I talked to him, that's Phil, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this Judicial Bureau process, I have to follow up with Ellen on this, but I think this process might be a step towards a declaration of abandonment or something.
Okay.
So anyway, we are moving forward to figure out what we can do there if we do have total just non-responsiveness from the landowner.
But if the taxes don't get paid, will it go up your tax sale too? Or how's that going?
That would be the other question as far
Yeah.
as, the tax sale. Yeah, well,
I mean-
it could either go to tax sale, well, yeah, it would have to, I don't know if it would be the same process or if it would be, but yeah. whoever purchased it would be liable for the back taxes.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we'll see where that goes, and we'll,
Have they been paying taxes on that property?
I think they had,
I don't think
I
they're
don't
fully
think, I
paid.
don't think it's been due.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, check back in on Friday.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to liquor licenses and fleet permits, neither of which we have tonight. Brings us to the end of our agenda. Just for action items, future things, I do want to flag that at some point we will take back up the short-term rental ordinance, establishing the timeline for the appeal process we talked about to try to put that to line up with town meeting so we don't have to have a special election. And the last thing is that the Reagan Road Power Installation Project, have you heard from VEC at all?
No, I haven't.
No. Okay, well then I'll follow up with them because they've had the material and they should have reached out to us by now, but they haven't, so.
And that question you had about the light in the village park,
Oh, yeah,
we didn't change the light bulb.
You didn't?
I don't know.
all
I
right.
don't know if we,
They said it got brighter, and what I said I'd look into alternative uplighting as opposed to a spotlight, because I have been by there at night, and it is true that when that is on, it kind of is blasting.
yeah, there might
Houses
be,
across
maybe
the
other
street.
alternatives.
Yeah, so we can look at turning, or I think I found a couple things online for like $120 that are just solar powered lights that go around the base and shine up.
Yeah, because isn't that light just for like the monument or that?
The light on
Or
the
for the
tree is
flag.
just for the flag.
Yeah,
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 yep. Just as we have a flag up at night, we have to have it lit.
yeah.
All right. Well, if that's it, then a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Suzanne. Is there a second?
A second.
Is there
So
any
much
further
quicker than I thought
discussion?
it would be.
Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries and the meeting is adjourned at 7:24.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.